Mount Snow, Vermont. The National All-Terrain Vehicle Rally. Brought to you by the National All-Terrain Vehicle Association. It's not a Jeep. It's not a boat. And it's not a snowmobile. It's an ATV, an all-terrain vehicle. That's what they're called. And today they're going to take part in a very exciting rally here at Mount Snow, Vermont. I'm Ed Pickett, your host today, and with me for the proceedings, a couple of the members of the National All-Terrain Vehicle Association. Chuck Leach, who's the executive director, John Lambert, who is today's rally director. Chuck, tell us what an ATV really is.
Ed, an all-terrain vehicle is the newest in the recreational vehicle market. This product designed primarily for the family and the family use so that they can have the opportunity to get out and enjoy the great outdoors.
It's used as a recreational as well as a sports vehicle, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Today you'll see the sports type concept where the men compete in competition, but the prime purpose of the vehicle is that of a recreational fun machine for the family.
John, how many vehicles are entered in today's event?
There are 82 vehicles in this event today. We had 90 some odd yesterday registered.
We'll be back to see the start of today's ATV Rally from Mount Snow, Vermont in just a moment.
You know when I'm to be quiet, when your other audio is on there.
The pace lap is underway now. Chuck, tell me exactly how is the position determined for today's race?
Starting position, which as you can see with this many vehicles is extremely important, is determined by lottery. Each man as he registers draws a number and this is his starting position. This is the only fair way that could be determined. You'll notice that ATV Manufacturing Company came out pretty lucky as two of their products are in the 1-2 position. That's the Attex vehicle produced in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Charlie Kruger's driving one of those vehicles, I see. Number 51, Jim Bartholomew from Pittsburgh is driving the number 2 car. Now, how many manufacturers actually are represented today? Why don't you tell us about some of them?
All right, we're represented here by 7 different all-terrain vehicle manufacturers. These manufacturers coming from as far away as San Francisco, California. The Coot and Snoopy products produced by Coot Industries. We also have with us Amphicat, produced by Mobility Unlimited Incorporated from Raymond, Mississippi, and some others that we'll talk about a little later.
We see the various ATV vehicles now passing Mount Snow's famous Fountain Mountain. That's a geyser that in the winter forms that mountain of ice about 200 feet high. And actually there are people skiing on it into May and June. It's quite a sight. We see the starting line and the pace lap is about to end. In just a few moments, the race will be actually beginning. Now, this is a 50-mile endurance race. And there are actually over 90 vehicles who've registered here. 45 of them are involved in today's race.
Watch now as they come around, completing the pace lap, which is mandatory to make certain that all vehicles are in line. When they come around Fountain Mountain, if the starter feels they're in line, they'll get the slow down, stop, and then the green flag.
Who's our starter today?
Starter is Charlie Baldwin, Regional Director for the NATVA from Region 2, and a very experienced individual in race competition.
Looks like he's got the flag up. He may be ready to start this race in just a few moments. The motors are gunning, and they're ready to take off.
Watch the flag. When the flag in the air, when the flag comes down, you'll see a mad rush for that first bad turn. Watch them now. Charlie with his flag in the air getting ready to start this event.
They're off. There they go. Quite a bit of power there.
And watch as they come to the first up in the course. A severe grade, probably of about 35 degrees. Can cause some confusion if you have too many units coming in at one time. Now you watch these drivers up and over the first hump, are around the first curve and into the series of jumps. There were 9 different jumps on this course. Watch them on this jump. You'll see the machines move up and over, very agile. Look out, we got some trouble.
There were our leaders, Kruver and Bartholomew, and they cracked up on about the second jump. They're all right. Still more action and quite a traffic jam there.
You can see what I was referring to. This section of the course does narrow down, and in the event that you get too many units in there, it gets a little confusing, and it's up to the drivers to sort themselves out and keep going.
Here a little further along the course, they seem somewhat sorted out, and the pace has picked up considerably. This is actually not only a 50-mile endurance run, but quite obviously quite an obstacle course.
All ATV competition is held on obstacle courses.
Now there's a driver that has a couple of them that have become stuck and they're out of their vehicles. Is that legal, Chuck?
Yes, certainly. The driver may get out of his vehicle and do anything that he can to get it back into the event. These gentlemen obviously got off the course into some 3-foot powder snow, and it gets a little tough going. This vehicle, as you see coming over, is produced by Ontario Drive and Gear, and it's termed the Argo, and they're from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada.
Quite a bit of action already from the ATV Rally at Mount Snow.
You'll notice that some of these units have roll bars on while others do not. The various classes are competing. Look out on that corner.
They almost took off the course, but stayed on.
Fine piece of driving by that particular driver. The units with the roll bars are the modified machines, while the units without roll bars are the stock units. All units competing in this event, and then prizes will be awarded by the various classes.
How many different categories of ATV vehicles are there, Chuck?
There are 10 different racing categories.
There's somebody getting a little help. Is that legal?
Only in the event you see the NATVA official in there. The official says he is not in danger, therefore he must get it out of the road himself.
But he can get going once again by himself.
Yes, if he gets going by himself, he's fine. If he requires outside help and it's a danger to the track, then he is out of the event. You'll notice that that man is really struggling to get that thing moving again. Looks like he's having some problems. That's really disheartening. That gentleman bucking us all the way from San Francisco, California to compete in this event. And it's somewhat disheartening when you're having problems out there. It looks like he's got transmission troubles.
Meanwhile, elsewhere on the course, the pace is continuing. There's a slight traffic jam all the way across the course along the back stretch. There are several of the hill climbs there, not as many as in the first part of the course. This course is laid out over a 2.5-mile track and goes, as we said, behind Fountain Mountain to the finish and start line.
You notice the traffic jam, some of the vehicles backing up, attempting to get out of the road so they can get over this particular obstacle. There they seem to be getting by now. Drivers here today from all over the country, and they come in all size, shapes, and descriptions. From big buckinos going in at 250 pounds to Junior Graham going in at about 135. And these fellows are real competitors.
This has now become a regular circuit for the ATV organization, hasn't it, Chuck?
Yes, we have rallies scheduled into the future almost every weekend through the entire summer, and we're beginning now to schedule our fall and winter events. This is all what we term amateur competition. While the association is establishing a professional class, we do not have it as yet.
We'll be back in just a moment. We're back for more action at the ATV Rally from Mount Snow, Vermont. John Lambert, as rally director, how do you think the race is going this afternoon?
Well, the race is going extremely well. In fact, a little better than what we anticipated. What we've done is in this endurance run, is something we've never been able to accomplish before. But with the type terrain that we have here, we've started 4 different classes all at the same time. This enables a real endurance run on vehicle and driver. and it gives the spectators action no matter where they look over the course, which I'm sure you've seen and you will see plenty of.
Well, we
later
have
on.
20,000 people on hand today, quite a good crowd. Who's leading the race at this point?
At the present time, George Peters from Mill Hall, Pennsylvania is leading the pack, and George has been with us quite often, by the way.
He's a regular in the ATV rallies. Well, of course, all-terrain vehicles are not used just in winter and in snow. They're used all summer long. We have some film that illustrates this. Well, John, it looks like ATVs not only are a lot of fun, they can be used for work, too.
Yes, they're finding more and more uses in agriculture and also different crews across the country. Most of the power line companies are getting involved in it also.
Well, ATVs, a vehicle for fun for the whole family, a real all-round recreational vehicle. Now it's time for us to get back to more action in the ATV Rally here at Mount Snow. Back to action in the ATV Rally. Who's leading at this point, Chuck?
At this point, it looks like Junior Graham from Blanchard, Pennsylvania is leading. And I believe that's Cliff Welker in second place in that Terra Tiger as they're going down the stretch and putting on quite a real stiff bit of competition there.
Now, number 3, I believe, is Bob McAbee of Pittsburgh.
With George Peters running number 4 from Mill Hall, Pennsylvania. And by the way, all 4 of these gentlemen started competing in ATV racing when it first started last year. And these boys obviously are the better, or the, at least we should say, appear to be the better of the drivers at this point in the rally as they're running 1, 2, 3, and 4.
We've gone 30 miles into the race at this point. And of course, the action is quite brisk. Now, you mentioned that racing started just recently. How long have ATVs been around?
The first ATV rally was held in New Bethlehem, Pennsylvania on June 15th. And right there is George Peters now. I believe he's running in the number 4 position.
He's moving up. He's really putting on the steam.
Watch him as he comes over the hill. You'll note how smooth that his vehicle moves as compared to some of the other units. This is because of the skill of the driver. George is an independent dealer who drives in competition for the fun and the thrills of competing.
Well, there's a Scrambler that's stuck for the moment.
Having some troubles, as you can see, you get off into that real deep powder. Scrambler, manufactured by Action Age Incorporated from Cleveland. one of the better ATVs on the market at this point.
He'll push that back and he'll get going again, of course. They come in all types and shapes and sizes. I've noticed some six-wheel vehicles. Most of them seem to be that way, but do ATVs have more than six wheels in some cases?
Yes, there will be an 8-wheeler in the event if we pick them up here in the camera. There's also a couple 4-wheelers out there. Perhaps we can pick them up here. Sure, there's a 4-wheeler built by Coot Industries in California, and the little 4-wheeler is called the Snoopy, also built by Coot Industries.
There it goes right now. The great basis of the ATV is the balloon tires and the unique ability to have one side moving while the other side is locked. Isn't that part of it?
That's exactly right. Maneuverability is the name of the game, and the basic operation is that of 4 or 6, however many wheels you have, they all drive, and they drive independently, so that as long as you get one wheel on the ground, you can keep moving. The unit coming over the hill now with a single headlight is a Terra Tiger produced by Alice Chalmers from Lexington, South Carolina. And there's the Argo we mentioned earlier, along with the Terra Tiger coming over the hill behind me. Amphicat, produced by Mobility Unlimited Incorporated, is one of the original all-terrain vehicles on the market.
There's somebody in the pit changing a tire. You get an idea of the size of these tires. They're not too large, but they carry a lot of air in them.
As obviously Ed's pointing out, quite a pun, because these low-pressure tires carry about 1.5 pounds of air, and the only way that they can gauge them when they air them is to measure the circumference. This is what gives that beautifully soft ride in an ATV.
I've noticed that they develop some bounce going over that course.
Yes, and when you get these things off the ground and coming back down, it's like riding on a rubber ball, because they are just that, quite soft and quite flexible when you start bouncing them. You'll notice the people on the course. These people are officials, and they are there for the protection of the drivers. Safety first in ATV competition is our motto.
Now we have some film from yesterday. Chuck, this is the Gymkhana, which was held on Snow Lake. Why don't you describe the action and tell us exactly what's going on?
Gymkhana course is a course to determine the driver's ability to maneuver his vehicle around a tight course. Here, horsepower means nothing. It's the ability to handle the vehicle through a tight series of turns. I believe we have some shots of these units move around the course. And again, it's one man against the course. You see how tight the turns are. Whoops, that'll cost him some time. Hitting a flag or catching the rope as you go around is a real problem in this type of course, because you are docked so many seconds for each foul. Now let's watch them as they maneuver their units around.
Through the finish line.
You'll notice the finish line holds the big Rockwell registered trademark. Rockwell Manufacturing produces many of the engines that are used in these units, and very graciously helps out in sponsoring any of these type of all-terrain rallies.
Look at him lock those wheels.
You'll note how the one side drives and then the other side drives. This is the method of maneuvering. This driver having a little bit of trouble, but he's coming out all right and underneath the finish banner.
Now we have some quick shots from yesterday's Gymkhana. He's really building up the speed. There were over 30 vehicles that competed in this event. Is this one particular class that we're watching now?
No, this event has nothing to do with the classing of machines, because it really makes no difference how much horsepower you have. It's your ability to control the unit. Many times in this type of event, it's the small horsepower unit that wins rather than the bigger ones, because the driver has the time and ability to control the unit.
Just about time to get back to some live action, and we'll be getting to that in just a moment. Here we are back live at Mount Snow for today's 50-mile endurance run. And at this point, we have a new leader.
Leader for at this point. Just 1 second, we catch him coming around the corner here. It looks like Cliff Walker has moved up into #1 position now. Yes, it is. Cliff Walker from Woodland, Pennsylvania has moved into the #1 position with Bob McAfee running 3rd. I believe Junior Graham is in the 2nd position at this point. From this vantage point, sometimes it's difficult to pick out the leader.
We have new results coming in now, and McAfee has moved up into 2nd place, and he's very close to 1st. He's putting on quite a drive there. It's based on time from the start.
You can see he's running well ahead of the pack, but just behind the leader, and doing a real fine job of driving out there. Bob's been at this game since it began, and it's quite obvious the way he handles his machine.
Here's the pack. They're quite a bit behind the leaders, and McAfee is definitely in the lead now. He's pulled well ahead. Quite a drive he's putting on right this minute. The other cars are far behind him. He's out of sight at the moment.
He doesn't appear to be letting off either, trying to put lots of distance between himself and the other competitors. You know, one unit we haven't talked about this afternoon that's making its debut here is the Max, produced by Recreative. This is the first time they've ever been out in public, and they're out here today competing for the first time, trying to find out exactly how their unit will hold up. There's McAfee way in the lead now, really stretching it out, pouring the coal on. He just doesn't seem to be letting up.
We'll be back to more of today's ATV Rally after this message from our sponsor. Our leader and winner should be coming into view. There he is, heading right for the finish line.
There he is now, crossing the line, and the flagman jumping way out of the road. Bob McAfee, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, doing a fine job of running. And by the way, coming from far back in the pack today, as he started back about 35th position, and a fine job by Bob. Here he comes now, coming up into the pit area, and moving up in front of all the spectators.
Well, actually, he did a tremendous job. He's a happy man, and I bet a pretty tired one, too. It's quite an endurance run. There he comes past some more of the spectators and into the pit area. And waiting for him is pretty Miss Vermont, Cindy Jurowitz, from the Miss USA contest. She gives the victor a kiss. I don't know whether he's expecting or not, but she certainly is, and she's waiting for it. There he is, a kiss for the winner of the ATV Rally from Mount Snow. There he is, our very happy winner.
Yes, Bob McAfee from Glenshaw, Pennsylvania, doing a beautiful job of driving this afternoon.
Well, you know, Chuck, this has been quite a testimonial to the endurance and stability of the ATV vehicle.
Yes, and indeed, we're most appreciative to all the NATVA member manufacturers for the effort they put forth in making this a big success here at Mount Snow.
That's it, the first annual National ATV Rally from Mount Snow, Vermont. The National All-Terrain Vehicle Rally has been brought to you by the National All-Terrain Vehicle Association from Mount Snow, Vermont. This program was produced by Snow Teleproductions. Your executive producer has been Edward G. Pickett.